Roommate's girlfriend tried to getting me evicted. I got her dumped. This is an old one, but still entertaining. 7 years ago, I moved into a 4-bedroom house with 3 of my friends. I was the only woman among 3 dudes. One of the roommates was the owner's son. We were all friends in college, and honestly, it was the best 2 years ever living situation-wise. We all had different work schedules, and because I worked the earliest, 6 a.m., I had the only downstairs bedroom. My friend, let's call him Jay, who worked the night shift and got home at 4:30 a.m., had the room above me, so that we didn't wake each other coming home. We had a jar in the kitchen we all would throw spare cash in, like $5, $10 at a time each. That was for common groceries. The rule was always that if you used the last of the common use stuff, you'd take it from the jar to cover the cost and grab it from the store ASAP. When we grabbed pizza or I'd make a meal for everyone, we used the same fund. This all is very important. About 5 months into the living situation, Jay met Karen and started dating her. He brought her to one of our game nights to introduce her to us to get a feel for how she'd mesh with us. And all was fine when she thought I was only the girlfriend of another roommate. Because we were playing in the dining room right by my room, Karen saw me go in that room to grab a sweater early in the night. Then she saw my roommate, the one she assumed I was dating, go upstairs to grab his phone charger. The entire vibe changed, and she started to ask me who I was dating. She was floored when my roommates confirmed I lived there. I had my own room, and I wasn't dating any of them. She saved face, said she was just surprised I'd want to live with 3 men, and we moved on. Cam, the owner's son, and I were the only ones that realized Karen saw this as a problem. After that, she started coming over right after I got off work and only leaving when Jay went to work. If I came out of my room to the living room, she'd ask why I was out there. If I was going to the kitchen, she would remark that I was being disrespectful to her and Jay, and interrupting their time together. If I was talking to Jay when she got there, she'd practically grind on him and shove her tongue down his throat. She even complained that I was ruining the mood for doing my laundry. One morning, Jay came home and started making breakfast for me and him, when Karen came down and just started screaming. She accused Jay of cheating, accused me of having relations with all the guys, then made the dumbest statement possible. She demanded I pay Jay back for the food he was wasting on me. Cam and I both told him if she couldn't deal with me living there, then she could no longer come over. Jay asked for a week to figure things out, trying to claim she was just caught by surprise when she saw him making me breakfast and not thinking clearly. We gave him a week. In that week, mysteriously, the grocery jar was getting raided. We all noticed and talked about it. We noticed my clean dishes were appearing, still clean, in the sink. Little things were disappearing from common rooms and weirdly appearing in my room. Karen was being sweet. She was not exactly covert. Cam and I knew she was sowing chaos, but, being curious where this was headed, we just watched. After a week, Cam gets a call from his mom asking if I had been going through something lately. Apparently, a concerned party had sent her picture after picture and story upon story about how I was trashing the house and stealing. Karen expected this to get me in trouble. Cam told me and I started planning my petty revenge. First thing I did was eliminate the grocery jar. I split up what was in it evenly between the 4 of us and told them that because of the raided stash, I felt it needed to go away. Karen didn't like this, but when asked why, she claimed it was rude for me to make a unilateral decision. Cam backed me. Battle won. Then I started hanging with Cam in the living room every day. She complained, but Jay told her it's our house and we can do as we please. When she would go to the kitchen, one of us always asked what she was doing in our fridge. She stopped going in our fridge after 2 days. The weekend was here, and we knew Jay had an extra overnight shift, and Karen was planning to stay in his room so they could hang out the next day. Cue my biggest petty move ever. That Friday, we hung out in his room, right next to Karen's. We made a bit of a show when Jay left, and acted like he could not know that Cam and I were hanging out alone in his room. This caught Karen's attention. We started shaking the bed, 2 nerdy people hip-thrusting the end of the bed to give the illusion the spicy thing was going down. Is quite awkward, but oh so entertaining. Within minutes we got a text from Jay, asking what we were doing. Cam replied, playing video games. After 10 minutes, we stopped the bed shaking and actually did play video games, on mute. When Jay demanded a FaceTime session, he saw exactly what he needed to see, me beating Cam in Mario Party. We cycled through this for a few hours. After a while, we decided to put the finishing touches on. We made a big deal about me needing to go to my room before Jay got home, and Karen took the bait. We could see the little bit of light being cut off in the slightly open door by her watching. Cam and I stage kissed, and I headed to the living room. Jay came in 10 minutes later to find me watching a movie, normal for me, and asked what was up. I told him I'd been up playing video games all night with Cam. He tells me Karen claimed we were doing the nasty and I told him we didn't. He goes to bed. The next day, Jay calls a house meeting without Karen. He tells us she's making claims of us having a relationship and hiding it from him. We say she's full of it. We tell him about the frame job she tried to pull, how she went to Cam's mom to get me in trouble. Jay asks our other roommate if he heard anything from the bedroom. Bro doesn't even flinch and says, I heard me calling Cam her bitch in the usual Mario Party talk. They weren't banging. Jay asked about the grocery jar. We all told him we suspected Karen. The next day, he broke up with her for trying to turn him against us. He called her a liar and a thief. A few months later, he dated another girl. She was awesome, and they're married now. I was a bridesmaid. But the absolute best part, Karen being one of the waitstaff and seeing Cam with his wife and me with my fiancé, telling them the story of how we once dry humped a mattress fully clothed to get back at a thief. Yes, Jay knows the whole story, and he didn't mind at all. To address the reason, Jay wanted to know if we were actually getting funky. He is the kind of dude that hates useless secrets. If Cam and I were hooking up, he'd be fine with it. If we were hooking up and actively hiding it from him like we couldn't trust him, he'd have an issue. That was why we played hard into the Jay can't know part. Though Cam says Jay secretly wanted us, Cam and I, to get together, but nah,